Crawl is a top-down competitive dungeon crawler where a player controls either the human or the three spirits. They alternate between spirit and human if they get the killing blow, possessing things like creatures, contraptions. It's another one of those games that is unique with the premise and the gameplay mechanics operating in the competitive space. There's not too many of these that come out, and this one is more so under the radar because it doesn't have online multiplayer. It is limited to offline. It came out quite a while ago, first in early access in 2014 and then recently in 2017. Then since they've added things like more monsters, more items, and more gods that have different creatures that you can possess.
The thing that broke them was a single uttered giggle. Nerves wound so tight their minds have cracked, and that one deranged sound undoes them.
Four travelers on a dungeon crawl are driven to madness, kill each other, and then the guy that's left is trying to escape while being haunted now by his three friends that are now spirits possessing contraptions and creatures in each room. And the story, the tone, even though it is this arcade sort of aesthetic with the insert coin and then jumping in, being fast-paced, only like a 30-minute game, having those two buttons. The story does fit with the horror theme, thanks to very well done, appropriate music, sound effects, and the selection of creatures that you will possess. A cycle of being the human player, getting killed, and then you're a spirit, and then you try to kill the human player to level up your particular character. You're all at different levels as both the human and the monsters. In the bottom there, I'm only at level 1. One of the ghosts is at level 2. They're at level 2 for the spirit, not for the human player. And the upgrade system works reflecting this, not in a very complicated, intimidating way. As the human player, you upgrade by killing creatures. The goal is to get to level 10 and then take out the boss, and then you pick up coins either through searching or through taking out different creatures, and then you're able to buy weapons. As the spirits, as the human player upgrades while you are a spirit, then it's called your wrath increases, where you can evolve and upgrade your three creatures depending on the god you picked, along with other attributes, like you might have stronger monsters if you pick a particular god, or traps could be more powerful, little different things like that. As you are going, though, from room to room, which you're following the human player, then depending on the room you pick, you can summon the creature that you have for your god, or you can just, after that creature's killed, you can possess a trap, like things like a barrel just being thrown at them, or an inferno sort of a thing where you're blowing fire. And it's fast-paced, so it's not meant to be too thoughtful of, okay, carefully I'm going to do this or that. That's only done for which god you're going to pick based on which creatures that you like, and your playstyle for the human player. It boils down to, when you get to the shop, what items do you want? And that's just based on how many coins that you have. So it's not intimidating in that way. This is an easy game you can jump into, and it being a top-down type of competitive game and just having those two buttons, that makes it pretty simple. When you are at the shop, depending on the items that you do have, it tells you if the item that you want to be buying is stronger and if you have enough money for it. On the spirit side, after a player has gone through the entire floor, then you upgrade your creatures based on wraths. There's different point values. Not all of them is the same. You see here 10 and 35 on the far left there. And these you unlock by playing the game either with bots that have easy, normal, and high difficulty, or with other players, and in combination. You don't have to be doing just bots or just human players. Of course, the big thing with this is that it is only offline. There isn't any online or any plans for any online multiplayer. The goal, though, is to be playing the human player by getting the killing blow, then occupying, possessing him, being him, and then upgrading to at least level 10. Once you do this, if you get to the correct room, you can go into this arcane portal that takes you to the final boss. There's one of 3 that you have in the game. They added one over time since early access. Same type of thing with the other rooms, though. The 3 spirits possess the boss. Like here you have the 3 heads, and there's unique ways to beat each of these bosses. I'll try not to spoil it here. You get 3 chances. The whole team gets 3 chances, and then if you lose 3 times, then everybody loses. For each time that you lose, you get transported back to the floor that you were at, and then you just resume where you were at with a little bit less health. So the goal being to beat the boss as the human player. And the boss doesn't change. If one guy goes in and then fights him, you're going to be fighting him again later. So the later that the game gets, the better chance that you have. I played this on all difficulties, easy, normal, and hard. Not terribly difficult. Also unlocking. You get unlocks as you go through. But the hard was a bit more. I didn't have like as much time, or didn't spend as much time on the hard modes. But you're not going to find this terribly difficult. Again, the difficulty isn't too extreme since it is more frantic and luck and fast-paced. Not entirely luck. You get used to the creatures, but so the question is, how does this play out? Well, for most people, they're going to be playing offline, and especially now, by themselves. So you're stuck with the bots. The difficulty is fine with them, but the kind of incentive to keep playing, though, is just to be unlocking the evolutions for the creatures, different items, and the different gods, which also have similar creatures that you unlock. You get those 3 creatures for each of whatever god that you pick before the match starts. And that's it. That's all you really have for the main game to keep going. How the AI plays out, it's predictable. Being a simplistic kind of a style, you can kind of guess the patterns, just their reaction time and how frantic they are, how quick they are, is the difference. They do fine, though, as far as going to a shop, buying items, and even fighting the boss, that sort of thing. They know what to do. The only other part to it is the vault, where you can see what the items do. Here you play as all of the creatures once you unlock them, and you go through different waves of fighting a single human player that gets a better weapon and a better special ability. And this is fun because you get to check out the creatures and understand what their special move does, as well as their standard attack moves, rather than the handful of times you'll play them. When you go to a spot to summon a creature, you get a random one of the 3 pertaining to the god that you pick before each of the matches. So this is a fun addition. Like explanations on how the game works, like with the gold, how you get gold. Like for instance, damaging the hero, you get the gold, and then for wrath, for them upgrading the blobs, all that. This is done well. Most games do a decent job of this, so you're not going to be lost, though, anyway, with this type of game, because you don't have a whole lot of complexity to it. That being said, though, apart from the main game, the lore part isn't going to push you any farther to wanting to play it more to unlock different things. That's limited to the vault with the creatures if you want to be checking those out. As for multiplayer, besides being limited to offline, one thing I have been checking out is Parsec. This is a online service if you are playing on PC, which I wasn't, that you can play offline with people if you either own the game through hosting a game or joining those that do have it. So that is one exception. If you can get that to work, then it can be worth getting it. Unfortunately, don't recommend it. It is well done in its presentation, and the type of game is like, that's fine, being a party game. Big problem is it's limited to offline multiplayer, and there's not enough depth there to warrant buying it to play just for single player. Like I said before, the one exception is Parsec, because then you can jump in, play with the group easily. But especially now, right now, you're not going to be playing with people locally too often, and even in normal times, you're not going to be doing that anyway. So it falls into that category of, what's the point with a game that is shorter and then you can play for a day, kind of checking everything out, then you're going to have enough, really. Like, subscribe, and I will see you next time.